This morning, an ROV, or remote operated vehicle, from the vessel Horizon Arctic discovered the tail cone of the Titan submersible approximately 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the seafloor. The ROV subsequently found additional debris. In consultation with experts from within the Unified Command, the debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. Upon this determination, we immediately notified the families. So the question was, is there any question as to whether or not the sub collided with the Titanic or whether it imploded above and debris field created from that? So the location of the Titan submersible was in an area that was approximately 1,600 feet from the wreck of the Titanic. I have an expert here that is familiar with that area and can talk about the debris field and what the debris field indicates in terms of where the casualty may have occurred.
Rear Admiral, really quickly, can you tell me when that massive fleet will be called back?
The expert voice is coming up to answer the question.
Thank you, Admiral. So the question is, where does the wreck lie in relation to the Titanic? I didn't hear the Admiral's answer. I think 1,600 feet. Was that correct, Admiral?
Yep, you got it.
So that's off the bow of Titanic. It's in an area where there is not any debris of Titanic. It is a smooth bottom. To my knowledge and anything I've seen, there's no Titanic wreckage in that area. And again, 200 plus meters from the bow, and consistent with the location of last communication for an implosion in the water column. And the size of the debris field is consistent with that implosion in the water column.
Thanks.
Well, if I can ask a question, in terms of the timing here, you say that this was a catastrophic implosion. And I know it's early on, but is it your estimation that this happened right at the moment when they lost contact, an hour and 45 minutes after the descent?
So the question was about the timing of the catastrophic implosion. Right now, it is too early to tell with that. We know that as we've been prosecuting this search over the course of the last 72 hours and beyond, that we've had sonar buoys in the water nearly continuously and have not detected any catastrophic events when those sonar buoys have been in the water.
Now let's bring in Stefano Brizzolara. He is an ocean engineering expert and co-director of the Virginia Tech Center for Marine Autonomy and Robotics. Stefano, I'm really glad to be talking to you because you actually have a basis for understanding this that the rest of us don't have. First of all, just tell us about your immediate reaction to this tragedy, and when you hear the consistent with a catastrophic implosion, given the pressure that was on this vehicle and your understanding of engineering and robotics and marine exploration, what additional insights can you provide for us?
Yeah, unfortunately, a failure of the pressure hull was probably the first hypothesis that could be done. This is something that may well happen at those pressure that you experience at those depths. You must consider that at 4,000 meters depth, the pressure is 400 atmosphere, which is 400 times the pressure we experience at sea level. You pump the tires of your car at 2 atmospheres. So it's 200 times the pressure that is in the tires of your car.
Stefano, before we hear or learn more about exactly what went wrong, and what can you tell us about just the efforts that went into this? We understand that it was a robotic device that detected this, that there were several that were used to reach these extreme depths that here in the United States, it's 12,500 feet. That is the ocean floor where the Titanic wreckage is. Can you talk to us a little bit about just what it takes, how these work, and what went into identifying the pieces that were found?
Yeah, underwater at those depths, there is no light, obviously, and the light actually can penetrate probably maximum 20 meters for a strong light. So you cannot use really light to see anything underwater. You have to use acoustic waves, sonar. The reflection of the acoustic wave that you emit come back, and there is a sensor that read the distance, basically, from which the acoustic wave reflects. And then the image in modern sonar with the synthetic aperture is reconstructed, and it can give you a pretty good image, three-dimensional image even, of the bottom. This is the technology we mount on our autonomous underwater vehicle that are unmanned vehicle that can scan the surface of the sea bottom while they are traveling at a certain speed, usually between 2 and 3 knots on top of the bottom. And we can reach 4,000 meters with our unmanned vehicles, even 6,000 meters. We developed a vehicle like that for a startup in Boston that then was acquired by a large company. And now they're building many more.
Stefano, you know, as we're learning more about this, I'm struck a bit by how rapidly technology has evolved. The Titanic sunk in 1912. At that point, it was considered the greatest technological achievement of its time. 75 years later, in 1985, it was discovered by Robert Ballard through a robotic, an ROV that was also part of what found the Titan now, that part of that team. And today, in 2023, we have human exploration down to these depths, 2 miles below the ocean's surface. I'm wondering, as we're talking about this, and it just seems so incredible how quickly we have made these changes. What lessons come from this? You teach, I believe you teach students about marine autonomy, robotics. Where does this go? And did these 5 lose their lives in pursuit of scientific advancement?
Yes, well, we teach, we have a program in ocean engineering, so we teach our students actually how to design and build a large naval vessel, including submarines, large submarines. This was more of an experimental submersible, I would say, with some new kind of material used for the pressure hull for the first time, I would say, to reach those depths. Carbon fiber has never been used for a pressure vessel to reach those depths. And there is a reason, actually, because carbon fiber is much less compliant in case of failure than traditional steel or even titanium. Steel and titanium are ductile materials. They can deform in a plastic manner. And even if they implode and fail, they can still guarantee a certain integrity. So while carbon fiber breaks immediately, is fragile and it breaks in pieces, probably those pieces that they found.
So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding you correctly, Stefano, because we're not experts, Stefano, sorry, but that the carbon fiber that was used in the submersible, the Titan, was that it had less integrity.
It has advantages. It is lighter and thinner for the same kind of strength in static condition. Let's say, in case of failure where the structure heavily deforms and start to curve on itself, carbon fiber doesn't allow for plastic deformation. So doesn't allow for large deformation. It starts to crack and completely break.
So given that this is the first time that it's being used, Stefano, is what you're saying, I mean, do you have a suspicion that perhaps this level of innovation could have something to do with why this happened? Is this what you suspect?
I mean, yeah, traditional steel or titanium may have mitigated the failure, perhaps. Yes.
And from what you know, how long do you think we'll have to wait to understand whether or not this, I guess, suspicion that you have is, in fact, what could have caused this catastrophic implosion?
If it is as certain as we understand from the declaration of the Coast Guard, that these debris are from the pressure hull of the vessel, this is 100% what happened. I mean, the hull imploded, and a small lack of symmetry, a small misalignment. The hull was built in two parts, at least, connected by bolted connection. So the smallest misalignment, the smallest asymmetry can start this kind of failure. And then at those pressures, everything happens very fast and in a catastrophic way, unfortunately.
And just so I understand a little bit of the timing and what we can expect to learn moving forward, do they need to bring those pieces back up? Can these ROVs, or what is used to bring this back up and study it closer, or because of the quality of the cameras and the technology used, is it possible to study everything you need to learn to understand why this happened? Can that be done from the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah, I think that it is possible nowadays to have a good image. Let's say it's an artificial image, but a good image of the debris and pieces they found on the bottom, and from there reconstruct what happened. Yes, I mean, they will decide, but I wouldn't spend time and effort in retrieving the pieces from the bottom, which is a complicated maneuver because you need arms, manipulators, and probably the current vehicles cannot do that.
Will Conan joins us now. He's president and CEO of Hydrospace Group, which specializes in engineering pressure vehicles for human capacity. Will, first, I'd like to get your reaction to Thursday's news.
Yeah, this has been a very sad day. We've been on pins and needles for days, and in hearing the Coast Guard announcement this morning, I've been doing this for a few hours now, trying to find a word that's just stronger than tragic. This is very tragic. This is the single biggest incident in our industry of submersibles since 1960. 60 years. This has never happened. We've had some fatalities, 4 fatalities in the 1970s, through 3 different events, and here in a single event, we have this is more than all the rest combined. So it is very sad. They're all colleagues. I mean, this is a small community. The families are it's just devastating for the families. And look, there is a world of engineers and professionals that gathers. I'm chairman of the submersible committee within the Marine Technology Society, it's been around since 1968. We gather, we discuss, we review designs, regulations. We are close to this. We have safe regulations. And it is a battle between pushing the boundary of innovation and regulation. One is too slow, one is too fast, and finding the balance. It's tricky for any industry of finding that balance. And sadly, in the world of deep ocean, and this is very, very deep, even in our industry, this is very deep. There's only 10 vehicles that in the entire world that can go to this depth. And
do you have a sense, Will, of do you have a theory about what might have happened, and do you think there's any way to ever know?
Yeah, I think we will know. I mean, they will be picking up the pieces. We will see what the. I mean, one of the issues is seeing what the debris field is down there. We have like some amazing technology on the seafloor with the remotely operated vehicles. I mean, these are very dexterous machines that can take photographs, video, and pick up some of the parts. But look, when something like that happens, when they call it a catastrophic implosion, that just means an underwater explosion, just inwards, and that means something gave way. And if they have the front and the back pieces, as those were made out of titanium, it appears that the central part just gave way.
The Navy detected what it called an acoustic anomaly consistent with an implosion after the Titan lost contact on Sunday. The official says the information was shared with the Coast Guard, which used it to narrow down the search area. Now, today, the Coast Guard said in a press conference that throughout its search, it had listening devices in the water, but did not detect any catastrophic failures. And it said for 72 hours, or about 3 days, it had sonar buoys in the water that did not detect any catastrophic events.